Sunday morning. With us is the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, the most powerful committee in Congress, and Jason Smith from the great state of Missouri. And I think Missouri always stood for honesty and integrity, Mr. Chairman. What do you think?
You know, John, it's the show me state for a reason. We believe that a handshake and your word can get the job done, and that's what we stand behind. Of course, I consider it God's country. It's great to call that home for 7 generations for my family. So it's a good place. If you haven't been there, you need to come visit.
Well, I've been to Missouri a lot. I've been to Kansas a lot, which is next door to you, and it's great country, and Middle America. And tell me, you're the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, the most powerful committee in Congress. I know you. What is your number one target right now?
So the Ways and Means Committee, as you stated, is the oldest committee in Congress, but it's the committee that has sole jurisdiction over all revenues that come in. So you're talking about all tax, trade, healthcare, Social Security, most of the welfare programs. So we're dabbling in just about every aspect that touches every American's lives. We were very successful in delivering the One Big Beautiful Bill, or the Working Families Tax Cuts, which created the largest tax cut in U.S. history, and people are seeing the benefits of that right now when they file their taxes, since we're facing one of the largest, well, it's not one of, it is the largest refund season. Almost $400 billion is being refunded to the American taxpayer because of a lot of provisions such as no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. And so that has been a big focus. Of course, the president keeps us extremely busy when it comes to trade policy. This is something that the president has been very focused and involved in. And then, of course, healthcare. We brought in the 5 largest healthcare insurers in the last month before the Ways and Means Committee, because we need to get down to to making sure that people have access to health care, but it's affordable, because clearly it's not the problem. If you talk to most Americans, they're not happy with their health insurer, and they're not happy with what they're paying for health care.
Well, we had on our show last week, we had Dr. Oz, and he is deeply, I think the president has assignment to finding out the fraud in healthcare, especially between New York State and Florida, where Florida has 24 million people, and Medicaid or Medicare is $33 million, and in New York, it's for 19 million people, it's $100 million. I mean, the numbers don't make sense.
Well, John, I'll tell you some other numbers, and it's pretty scary. A year ago, myself and Kathy McMorris Rogers, the chair of the Energy and Commerce Committee, the former chair, we called on the Government Accountability Office to look into the waste, fraud, and abuse within the Obamacare exchanges, and they gave us a report last December. In that report, the waste, fraud, and abuse was unconscionable. For example, one Social Security number they discovered had 125 different policies attached to it. They also noticed that insurance companies were having their premiums paid to them by the government for 58,000 dead people. Like, this is the kind of waste, fraud, and abuse that's within the system, and it's completely unconscionable.
That is mind-boggling. How, I mean, I grew up in the days where if I was off by 24 cents, the IRS would go after me.
You definitely had to dot your I's and cross your T's. That's how I was raised. That's how my parents trained us. And, you know, we shouldn't expect anything less when it comes to the government or any of the agencies.
So where do we go from here? And the other thing that I know bothers you and bothers me is foreign money coming into the United States and trying to affect our elections. And you've been working on that. Hopefully we're making some progress on that.
First off, it is illegal for foreign money to be involved in U.S. elections, but they have found a way to disrupt the whole system, and that is funneling their money into 501c3s and C4s. We've noticed several foreign billionaires that have been funneling their money, but they're not only getting involved in elections. Their focus is creating division within the United States and chaos and unrest. In fact, we have noticed where these 501cs, the People's Forum is one example. I've actually called for them to lose their tax-exempt status because of them being not upholding the standards and the rules and the laws that's within the non-for-profits. They've organized all this unrest, protest in California, in Minnesota. It's absolutely unacceptable, and we got to hold their feet to the fire without a doubt, John.
Understood, and you're absolutely right. Anything else? It's Sunday morning. People are drinking their coffee. They're probably going to go on their way to church soon. Anything else you want to tell them?
I hope people enjoy the church service. I wish I could be joining you in New York as well, but it's always an honor to be with you, John.
Well, Chairman Jason Smith from the great state of Missouri, thank you for coming on. And let's fight for America, because we have to fight for our kids and grandkids.
We have to fight every single day, and I appreciate the fight that you lead.
Thank you so much.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number, save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.